Are you wondering how to stop blaming yourself for a failed relationship? Maybe the failure really wasn't 100% your fault. Or, far more likely, you did some things you wish you could take back. But it wasn't all you. Either way, blaming yourself isn't serving you. But I'm going to give you a different way of looking at failure and a way to shift your mindset. So, I'm like you, if you're watching this. I have a failed relationship. And I look at that and it was embarrassing for me to be able to have to come to my family and say, yeah, I am getting a divorce, this failed. There's a real kind of cultural sort of, I would say, barrier that I had to walk through that I didn't want to walk through. I was embarrassed, I was nervous, I felt like it was a really big step and that I was going to get a lot of backlash from the process and saying, hey, I think it's time for me to get a divorce. And it was hard. It was hard to accept all that came with it when I did that. And I didn't want to look at the pain of it because it's painful. So first thing that I did, and I learned this from some friends of mine, is to shift my mindset from blame and the sense of failure to an idea of graduation. I love that. To think that, oh, I've graduated. I figured out through all the work that I did that this was not working for me. And now it's time for me to move on. And we do that, right? We're in school, we study a whole bunch, and if you, after you've learned everything you can from that institution, continue to sit in it, well, you've really limited yourself. It's time to go to college, time to do a graduate degree, time to learn a technical skill. Whatever it is you need to do, you got to move on. And that mindset shift for me, looking at it from, oh, I really failed in this spot with this relationship. Why did I do this too? Okay, I've graduated. I began to evaluate through the relationship and the years that I was in it, through discovery instead of blame, what it was that I learned. And that is a valuable thing because I guarantee no matter how dysfunctional or how healthy your relationship was, there are huge, huge nuggets of wisdom and learning that you can find in that relationship that you just walked away from. You graduated from it. Time to move on. So that was a big mindset shift for me to be able to move away in that space. Then, once I was able to drop my shame, my fear, my sense of failure, I was able to get curious. And in the space of curiosity, that's really where things come alive. If we're looking in a place of blaming, simply to say, this is all your fault, or even if you're blaming yourself, this is all my fault. I'm the one that ruined this relationship. Either thing is not good because it is never 100% true. It's important to be very curious so that you can own the mistakes that you made, the ones that you made, and own only that. Don't take the whole blame for everything. And then you can also understand why you were in a place where you were allowing yourself to be confronted with the things that you didn't get or need or want in the relationship. And yet you were blaming yourself for not getting them. If that's you, right? These are the things that help you. Being curious, dropping the fear, moving to graduation. After you have completed these first two steps of shifting your mindset, getting curious, you can move to the third, where you can take complete ownership of this story. And this is how you can tell you've truly graduated. When you own it and you've replaced blame and fear and the feelings of failure and shame with acceptance, with curiosity, with understanding. And I want to tell you, I really, really work on this. It's something that I try to do all the time, and I fall back into feeling like it's all my fault. I fall back into blaming my ex for things. I fall back into just feeling embarrassed about how it went down and what I did. It's easy to do, but I keep returning to this and I spend less and less time in that space. So you just keep following the process. And it's iterations of it. You work through it. For my YouTube channel, I was asked to interview a bunch of women and talk to them about their experiences in relationships. And I had a really unique opportunity to hear people tell me what they learned, what they felt about their past relationship, what they hope for in their future relationships. And a very, very clear line was divided for me in the reactions of the women that I spoke to. The ones that I felt had really, really moved on and seemed happy and whole and strong and like ready to meet somebody had all looked at their marriage. They in fact, when they talked about their past spouses, their past relationships, they didn't talk about those people with real animosity, anger, frustration. They talked about them as if there were some things that I needed in my life, and this is what they were, and this person didn't seem able to provide that for me because I wasn't able to show them who I truly was. They took it all back to themselves, and they realized, oh, I wasn't setting boundaries. I was just giving everything up to try to win his love. I was not truly representing myself, and I was giving, more than I was wanting to in the hopes that it would be returned to me. These are the types of things that they really looked at rather than saying, this man just took everything from me because he was selfish and wrong and all men are selfish. Like, there were women that did that too, but the healthy ones didn't do that. And then the ones that were struggling, they would say, I've done all my work and I've worked so hard, and yet still the men aren't doing the work. They're selfish. They don't see us. They'll take more than they should. And it was an interesting thing, right? The women that continue to meet men that are not giving them what they need and helping them feel loved and helping them know that they're safe, were still blaming the men that they encountered. They were not looking to themselves to understand why it is they were allowing themselves to move into a relationship with another person that was giving them red flags and obvious signs that they were going to do the same things as all the people in the past. They were still returning like a dog to the vomit and eating from the trough that they had walked away from in the other relationship. And this is a really, really consistent pattern. You're not alone. You should be aware of this. This is a human pattern. Over 75% of people divorce a second time after their first marriage ends. So we are all, I would say, not all of us, but most of us are caught in this trap of blaming, failure, shame, and we're not really delving into our own sense of responsibility and truly understanding this is what I own, this is what I did wrong, and this is what I need and expect out of my life, and I won't accept because I'm going to show up as I am for real and have my expectations in place. I'll have my boundaries. I will know that if I only hold to these things, there will be someone that will truly see me. But when you don't love yourself deep enough, when you don't accept who you are to the depth that you wish to be loved, you begin to compromise in the space of someone that's attractive, that is enticing. And you begin to give up pieces of yourself again, and you'll walk right back into that space where you are now taking blame for things in a relationship that you're not happy with, right? I'm not being treated well. What's wrong with me? Why can't I find people that love me properly? You need to start loving yourself properly. And these are the ways to do it. Move away from fear. Look to your mindset. Shift from blame and failure and fear to graduation. What you've learned. Get curious. Decide, man, I want to really understand what the opportunities are for the future. And then take complete ownership of your story. Don't worry about the things that they're responsible for. You can't change that. There's no point. Only change yourself. Full stop. That's your line of power. That's your path to success and peace and happiness. So, if you want to stop blaming yourself for a failed relationship, follow these 3 steps. Buckle up. It's hard work, but it's fun. It's worth doing. And with a changed mindset, you can do it. If this hits you, I'd be interested in knowing what you've done to overcome your relationships. And then I got a video coming up, how to overcome fear of dating after divorce. This might help you if you solve your stuff and you're ready to date again. Stick around. Thanks for hanging out. I'm James Burnham.